All right. Well, we're recording, so it's just we don't have. If this is Voltron, we don't have the head, but it's fine. Welcome to Movie the Podcast. That's right, Movie the Podcast, a special TJ free episode for your listening entertainment. It is still Fourth of Clone Guy. Yeah. And we watched Tom Cruise's Oblivion, which we will be talking about, but since we don't have TJ here, and since I'm coming down from my mountain of watching 10 films to watching no films this week, and the fact that Alec has been gracious enough to do the Brett Goldstein films to be buried with questionnaire to all other members of the cast, and he has not had a chance to answer the questions himself, I think we're going to open with our very own Mr. Alec answering those questions. So, without further ado, and just to completely ape off Brett Goldstein, Alec, you're dead. How'd you go?
It was all you can eat buffalo chicken strip night at the local Denny's.
Hey,
do they have that?
They used to.
Oh fuck!
We used to go every Monday night and eat like 10 plates of chicken strips and then go watch Monday Night Raw at our friend Walker's house.
Did you movie pass it? Is that why they don't have it anymore specifically because of you two?
Alec is part of the reason that the Denny's Corporation no longer offers this delicious treat.
Like every Monday there's a spike in chicken tenders at our Eldersburg branch.
Yeah, we can't keep up.
Yeah. And then we knew the waitress, so like they weren't supposed to let you take like them home. Like you had to eat them there, and then they would just like scoop up your plate at the end. But she was the younger sister of somebody that we went to school with, and she would just load us up and like load us with to-go containers. So we would take like 5 pounds of chicken tenders, buffalo chicken tendies home, or just leave them in our car till the next day so the sauce soaked through really good. Back when my stomach could take anything.
Those
there's something about those cheap buffalo tendies. I don't know if it's like just the regular ones, like no thanks, but like just slather them in that shit.
Oh yeah,
that cheap like whatever that kind of sauce, almost like Frank's buffalo sauce.
It was like margarine and orange paint, but it was delicious.
Yes, it was delicious.
Did you guys have Bill Bateman's around you when you were growing up?
Who's Bill Bateman?
You know what that was? It was like okay, so you did have that. I think we put that out of business with those fucking chicken wing, like all you can eat nights.
Yeah, they weren't super close to us. It was a bit of a drive, but they were around.
It was I think theirs was Towson?
Towson was the one I always went to, yeah.
There was one in Westminster, or like Reisterstown. Up by that comic book store, kind of toward the end of 140, if you know what I'm talking about.
Right. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Like on your way to Owens Mills the long way.
It might still be there. If the Bateman's is still around. The one in Towson, I'm pretty sure, is still there.
Yeah, was that just a hyper local chain?
Well, I think it was just like
a couple of them.
Yeah, and then they expanded, and then they just kind of fell into this shit. Like, they ended up getting one in Severna Park. There was one in Glen Burnie, which is like the fucking portent of all doom when you open a restaurant there.
There's some GB restaurants I like, but now I can't think of them off the top of my head.
That's strictly GB?
Strictly GB. I think it was like a Korean spot. It doesn't matter. No, I know exactly what it is. My favorite Jamaican food comes from, it's only in Glen Burnie. Judy's Island Grill 2 in Glen Burnie.
Shit.
Shout out.
Is that place still open?
It is. It still takes 2 hours to get your food, but
bro, that place didn't look like it was open the week they opened it.
That place fucking rules. I'm fiending for a jerk roti right now. But anyway, Alex dead. He's dead from chicken, and that we're not surprised. We are sad though, but you're in heaven now.
Before we go on, who has the saddest death? Who are we the most sad about? Because I'm thinking Alec. It's one of you two. Like, I think I'd be the saddest about.
Who are we as a group the most sad about?
Yeah.
That's probably Alec, I would think.
Yeah. It's
like, as a group. He's the emotional heart of the show. With the brains, the balls, the dick, the heart.
All the important stuff.
All the important ones. All the stuff you don't want to trade away, and you can't live without. So with that, you're in the afterlife, and we got to know, my friend, what was the first film you ever saw?
The first movie I can remember ever seeing, and I only know it was before a couple other ones because I saw it in Massachusetts when I was a kid. The first one I can remember seeing was Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Nice.
I remember seeing that in a theater with my aunt and uncle when I was a wee lad. And that movie was a banger then. And we rewatched it, and it's still a banger.
Yeah, holds up.
What year was that?
88? Like, I'm sure I saw movies before then, like at home
that's the
on
one that's
TV or something. But that's the one that like sticks out to me as the first movie that I remember like going to a theater and like actually like seeing on a big screen.
No.
Like
and it was Massachusetts, so both your uncle and aunt were both named Pat in some way, right?
Oh, my godmother's named Pat. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it was Who Framed Roger Rabbit. But that movie fucking slapped.
That's a good one. That's an excellent way.
Yeah, start out a high bar.
Yeah, you started on you really started a peak to end up on this podcast. So well done.
I feel like we've dragged him down a lot.
Yeah, we've taken a lot of wind out of them sails.
Maybe that's why I haven't watched so many classics, because I started off so high.
Yeah.
I was like, Citizen Kane, how is this going to compare to Roger Rabbit?
No, you're chasing that Roger Rabbit habit dragon. Like, there's no way.
Like, I'll never forget when you started doing the show with us and we'd watch some thoroughly average movie. Like, this is the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
But now we know why.
Right, yeah.
His frame of reference was impeccably high. All right. Next up, what was the film that scared you the most, and do you like being scared?
I don't. Like, I've come around on horror to an extent. I guess I don't mind suspense more than horror, but I'm scared of real life shit. I don't need to be scared of movies too.
Can I ask a relevant question, because I find this fascinating about you specifically? Is, like, I know you don't love horror movies and you don't like being scared, but you like love apocalypse movies, which are like kind of horrific. So like, what is it about those that like you love versus just like a regular horror movie?
Great question.
I don't know. Maybe it's like the fact that it's all consuming and there's no like everybody's in it. It's not like somebody got picked out and is being like hunted, or there's a serial killer.
Like, we're all in this together. Like, this is
it's a very egalitarian.
Yeah, like in that Australian movie, like everybody's dead. Like there's no coming back from that. But equally, everybody's dead. Like nobody was singled out. Nobody was like hunted down. It's like, oh, you're all fucked.
It's a great leveler, basically.
Yeah, you'd think that, but it still wouldn't be.
No, it still wouldn't be, because that's how
people would still be preying. People would still be preying on other people.
Yeah.
Yep, because we're the worst. But what movie did scare you the most?
I don't know if I can pick one. I'm gonna say just The Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, whichever one of those I saw first, like, scared the absolute piss out of me. I'm sure it was just on TV and my dad was watching it and I just happened to come in the room and it scared the shit out of me, like, forever. Freddy Krueger is terrifying.
He is.
Did you watch movies with your folks regularly? Because that's not something I ever really did.
Sometimes I would, because, like, we had a VHS player. Like, my dad, for a long time, was very, like, cutting edge. Almost, he was too cutting edge, because he bought a Laserdisc player. And that shit didn't work out.
He was like a venture capitalist for home media.
Yeah. But, like, as soon as cable was like a thing, we had cable. When satellite TV was a thing, we had satellite TV.
Did you have the old Steve satellite where, like, you got, like, fucking broadcasts from, like, Tunisia and shit, like the big satellite?
No, it was just like DirecTV.
Okay.
But whenever like that came around, and, like,
so like you couldn't.
When Nintendo came out, like he got a Nintendo like right away, which was awesome.
Yeah.
But no, I don't remember watching a lot of movies with them. Like sometimes we would, but like they had their like nice setup downstairs with the TV and the couches and shit, and then up in their bedroom they had like a 13-inch, sometimes black and white, sometimes color, like broadcast TV that I'd watch X-Files on Sunday nights when Dad would want to watch whatever sports were on TV.
But Nightmare on Elm Street, you think?
Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, the guys. I mean, it's a horrifying concept to be hunted down in your dreams.
Yeah, that happens to me every night. It's always terrifying.
Just cobras. What film made you cry the most, and are you a crier? As a crier, I'm asking this question.
Yes, I cry all the fucking time. I have to hide it from Stacy because I'll cry at this stupidest shit. I'll be like, I gotta pee.
It's like, oh, my allergies are kicking up. Oh, this theater. Oh, so many dust mites.
Yeah, how many drinks do you got to go get?
Yeah, it's going off. I'm getting misty.
Movie that made me cry the most. I don't know, man. Like stuff like An Incredible Journey.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
Like
the one with the animals had to get home.
Dogs where they talk during the movie. They like look who's talking during the movie, but they get like lost across country. I remember crying a lot at that, even though it has a happy ending. It's still sad.
Oh, dude, are you? I have a question. Are you the joy is overwhelming crier? Because that happens to me too. I'll just put it on Front Street. Like stuff will be so happy and nice. I'll be like, oh, this is lovely.
Yeah, that'll happen too. I mean, I cry a lot. Like I cried for probably half of the last Guardians movie. I was crying.
I still haven't seen that. I'm so scared of seeing that.
I was crying. Like anything to do with Rocket during that movie, like I was like bawling. So yeah, it doesn't take much. As far as one, it's hard to pick one.
Are you like a sports movie crier? Are you like a Remember the Titans guy? Like, or not?
I do.
Really?
I love Remember the Titans. That one doesn't make me cry. That one's just awesome. That was just like, that's like honestly one of the best sports movies.
It's up there.
Yeah, it's hard to pick one for crying. I guess I'll say like an Incredible Journey or shit like Milo and Otis.
Something in that vein.
Stuff like
something
that with like cute little animals that are in peril.
I mean, by the same token, like Rocket Raccoon is sort of there adjacent, except he's armed and a little more sentient.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, time-wise from the movie, I might have cried more during Guardians 3 than any other movie, just because I was waiting for someone to die. I was like, the whole time, I was like, what's going to happen? Who's going to get it? It just like building in anticipation. So yeah, I'll say Guardians 3 then. For time cried versus time not cried during the film.
Total time cried. Guardians 3. What is a terrible? This is a good. I love this question. What is a terrible film?
When I hit the ground, my feet went out.
Oh no, you all right?
No, I'm fine. I'm in the pool. I fell when I got in.
I love that you do pool casts. I love that so much. You're doing this right. But what is a terrible film that you love?
Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
100.
Sorry.
Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves is that's a good one. A Knight's Tale?
Yep.
Oh, that shit is bad.
That movie is not good, but if it's on, I'm watching the whole thing every time. Like, I love that movie. Like, the stupid premise of, like, rock and roll jousting in 12th century France.
It's fucking anachronistic as shit.
That's one of those movies that's been threatened since we've been doing this show. Like, I feel like it's been just, like, on the horizon forever.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a birthday pick or something at some point if I can't think if nothing good has come out that I haven't seen.
It's gonna be. I mean, I'll put it on Front Street. It's gonna be an 8+ for me when we see it, if it ever happens. Like, it's already gonna be.
Oh, I can see the lines drawn on the sand already. It's gonna be. I don't know if TJ has seen it.
How could he have not seen it?
Yeah, but I feel like
I think it's a very missable movie.
Oh, I figure by now it's sort of entered the cultural zeitgeist as just like as a polarizing film. Like, he's got to weigh in one way or the other, but maybe.
Yeah, but now you don't just see stuff on accident.
That's true.
Like, you're not just like flipping through channels and like, what's this? And get sucked in.
Also, wasn't it in the middle of like a bunch of medieval movies in that era? Like, wasn't that like a pretty big trope for a while around?
I feel like, yeah, it came out like right after like Shakespeare in Love and stuff like that. Like those like British period pieces.
Like your teen heartthrobbies, and you just decide to make it Old English. Rest in peace, Heath Ledger.
Yeah, R.I.P.
Okay. What is the film?
So the scene in that movie with where Paul Bettany plays Geoffrey Chaucer, and he's tremendous. So the scene where he gives Heath Ledger the huge like intro, and the crowd doesn't say anything. Like, they're just dead silent afterwards, and then Robert Baratheon has to get them going. Apparently, the crowd didn't speak any English. They were all like French or Croatian or something, so they had no clue that was the cue for them to go nuts until Mark Addy was like, yeah! And they all started going. They're like, oh, that's the cue. And they all started cheering.
And he does that classic move where he kind of like cups his hand off to the side to make it sound like, something.
Yeah, like he's throwing his voice.
We need more beer.
Say we let him go.
Yeah.
He's like, yes, that's tight.
And what's in Steve the Pirate's fun in it? I can never remember his name, but it's
or Alan Tudyk.
Alan Tudyk.
Yeah.
Because you punch like a girl. What's a film you once loved, but watching it recently you realize it's terrible? What's your crawl, Alec?
My crawl. Oh man, not crawl. I never had any love for crawl.
Well, no.
A movie that I love.
Or are you blessed enough to have always had good taste?
No, there's definitely been some revisit. Ace Ventura.
Oh, interesting. I haven't watched that in a long time.
Ace Ventura was used to be tremendous. We watched it maybe a year ago, 6 months ago, and it is
not.
It's not that funny, and it is horribly offensive to the trans community.
To tag up on that, we're all still banging Sean Young with the backwards penis, right? Like, I know 100%. Yeah, all right. Good.
Yeah. The movie loses the whole scene because he'll be like, oh, okay. Einhorn is fine, whatever.
But, like, now that I think about it, like, is there any explanation as to why they just put it back there? Like, how did that work? Or am I misremembering that scene?
Why they put what back there?
Didn't they, like, attach his or her D&B to, like, the top of her butt or something? Or, like, am I totally... Oh, they tucked it. I, for some reason, thought they, like, moved it to the back. Like, all the way to the bit, like, okay, never mind.
No, she was just tucking.
Gotcha.
But it was, the right wing would be very upset and Target would be able to sell clothes. So that's where we're at.
No Ace Ventura merchant Target.
No, it's like a Goodbye Horses situation.
So Ace Ventura, good call on Ace Ventura. I haven't watched either of those in a very long time.
Well, his other movies from that, like Rio, The Math, I still think holds up. I think that's really fun. And Dumb and Dumber. There's a few jokes that you kind of have to drop, but overall, that's still really good. But Ace Ventura just didn't do it.
He's so over the top in Ace Ventura, right? Like, I feel like that might wear a little thin too. Though he's very over the top in The Mask, but I guess that's I never liked The Mask. I'll put it on Front Street. What's a film that means the most to you, not because of the film itself, but because of the memories you have of it? That's a lovely question. Freckles is good at this.
The Pop Star, Never Stop, Never Stopping. I watched that movie like 4 or 5 times in the theaters. because it came out right when Mom got sick,
Mm-hmm.
and I just kept going and watching it. And it's hilarious, and it makes me think of her. And now, whenever I have bad days, it's one of the bad day movies that Stacy puts on for me when I get home. Yeah. I watched Pop Star and
Ask Any Coconut.
Yeah. The higher you are, the harder you fall. What Pop Star and Hot Rod and sometimes Beavis and Butthead.
And just like an absolute, like a great movie, but an absolute just insane soundtrack on Pop Star.
Oh yeah.
Like those songs are legit bangers. Like
Hungry Gonna Eat is fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Walking through the forest like a retarded Tyrannosaurus.
Because you could you could have told me that was literally a Tyler the Creator song. I'd be like, okay,
oh yeah, tracks.
Like he doesn't have any dried cum in it, but I was joking. Or was I? That whole scene fucking kills me.
Oh, what a lovely film. Shout out to Lonely Island.
Hell yeah, it's something like I hope they keep making movies, but they have like no return on their budgets. At some point, they're going to stop giving them money to make movies.
Yeah,
which is unfortunate. But I don't know. I guess they do a lot of like writing and directing for other shit too that's fairly successful.
Weren't they big in the Lego movies? Did they write the soundtracks to the Lego movies? Or am I thinking of the?
They wrote the theme song. I think they did Everything Is Awesome. They did at least a version of it.
Yeah, I don't think they wrote the whole soundtrack, but they definitely did the theme song for it.
Well, I know Jorma. I know Jorma and Akiva. They write they're like prolific, right? Their names show up on a lot of funny shit. So
yes, they are. And they do a lot of TV stuff too.
Yeah, they're fucking talented dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a good question: what is the sexiest film?
Ooh. Sexiest film.
And why is it Flashdance?
And why is it Ace Ventura?
Ace Ventura.
That's a tough one. I don't know. I don't know that I find very many whole films very sexy. Like I can think of a sexy scene. Like that first scene from The Counselor.
Oh, yeah, that's a hot scene. It went on a little long. What's a hot scene?
Like, but there aren't movies that like I really feel that way about from beginning to end.
I don't know. Did you watch LA Confidential with us, Alec?
Sexy movie.
Yeah, I did. That was a good one.
You ever seen Zardoz?
No.
Check out Zardoz.
Don't.
Or don't.
Seriously, don't.
That's not very good.
Is that the one with Sean Connery wears the red like uniform?
Yeah. Sean Connery.
It's bad. It's bad in its own sexy way. We watched Sexy Beast, but I feel like that movie wasn't as sexy as advertised.
No, I didn't hear it sexy yet.
It should have been called Boring Beast.
You can think at least two things wrong with that title.
They don't make a whole lot of like steamy movies anymore though. Like, they don't make Angel Heart in 9.5 weeks. It's just not like a profitable genre, I don't think.
No, yeah. I mean, what you get the 50 Shades of Grey films, and that's probably the last time they tried to foray into that. And they made a mint, I think, on those things.
Yeah. I don't know, The Matrix, like, does that count? I mean, it's like, I guess for a certain
leather
generation.
erotic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty sexy.
Well, I mean, this dovetails nicely to the next question, which is, what's a film that isn't supposed to be sexy, but you found yourself turned on by?
Space Jam.
That's a much more Space Jam.
Yeah, Space Jam.
Yeah, Lola Bunny.
No.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there's a whole generation that have have some stuff imprinted in our brains that we shouldn't have. But.
Well, it probably has to do with the fact that none of us, are like dime pieces. So it's like, if we're funny enough, maybe.
Right. I never thought of it that way. Like, it sets a bar of like hope. Like, you can laugh you can giggle your way into a disproportionately.
Look what Roger Rabbit got.
Like,
literally the only way I ever got laid.
Unstable woman.
Yeah.
She's just drawn that way. That's a good call. Yeah. Alec, what film do you most relate to?
See, this is a question that I don't. This is a question that I don't. Yeah. I don't know.
I know we talked about it before, but I think like a Remember the Titans or like an underdog sports film feels like a movie that I would sort of associate with you.
I feel like a Spider-Man movie, like something of that ilk.
Interesting.
Like something about like the average guy standing up for people. You know what I mean?
That underdog story, yeah, like that's yes.
Yeah.
A defender of people, a hero, a heroic something.
Okay, how about Falling Down?
For all the reasons.
I haven't seen that movie in so long.
Oh yeah, you probably remember.
I saw that movie I think that was that widely released or was that just like an HBO?
Oh, it was very popular.
It was wildly released. They shot at Gonzo.
No, not Falling Down.
I don't know. If you gave me that question about gods, like, even though it'd be easy to say like Big Trouble in Little China or something, I would say something like Love Actually. Like, that's the kind of thing I think of with gods.
Yeah, I look big old sap, but I love that movie.
It's a fun little movie.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, that's if I had to pick some themes for you, I think it would be something with a strong moral compass, and a defender of the defenseless.
I always, when I think of Alec in movies, I always think of the Rocky series, because it's like, did you ever see the big hit?
Yeah.
The Marky Mark movie. Remember when Hakeem Woodbine discovers jerking off at like 32 years old?
Yeah.
And like, remember Alec got really into Rocky and he didn't see him until he was like 35?
That's a good call. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. I'll say Rocky. Rocky encompasses both of those things you guys talked about. So I'll say minus being shredded like Sylvester Stallone.
And it's a love story. Like, it's a very sweet love story, the first one.
And sort of the second one.
Yeah.
Don't tell me not to be a man. Love. Rocky 2 is a movie that I did not appreciate enough.
Oh, Rocky 2
later in life.
I still have the first one. Burt Young throws that whole ass turd. Yeah, she fucking retarded. It's just like, or he's trying to explain Southpaw to her. That movie's fucking adorable.
It's good times. What is objectively? I think I already know your answer to this question. But what is objectively the greatest movie of all time?
Objectively, it's gotta be Jaws.
Right.
Hell yeah.
Like, it's gotta be. It is. It's gotta be Jaws.
Right. It's not
like, if you want to say like, I don't know, non-classics or movies that most people wouldn't think of.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe like, what's the third Star Trek movie? The new ones.
Oh, Star Trek Beyond.
Star Trek Beyond.
Beyond. Yeah, something like that.
That's a good movie.
Alec, what's the best movie you saw with us?
The what?
The best movie you've seen with us since we started doing this whole thing.
or in
either.
In our civilian clothes.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot, like Jaws, Rocky.
I forgot we watched Jaws.
The special Nate episode.
Yeah, with Nate. Yeah.
I think a lot about My Own Private Idaho.
It's a good movie.
Fucking rules.
Like, that movie slaps. Dog Day Afternoon.
Oh yeah.
Like, and that's the thing, right? Objectively, there is no best movie. Like,
right.
There's 100 of them.
Except for
beyond
30 minutes or less.
Beyond that, there's like 100 more.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I'll say Jaws.
Jaws is a good pick. So it's the top tier pick. S tier. What's the film you've watched the most?
It's probably either Pop Star or The Fellowship of the Ring.
Banger.
I'm seeing The Fellowship of the Ring a lot of times.
That movie's so good.
But I've also seen Pop Star a lot of times. So I don't know. So it's got to be one of those two, though.
Those are pretty good choices.
Although I don't know, we might have a competitor creeping up because me and my beautiful wife have watched Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe like 6 times this year so far.
That movie is so fucking funny.
I still need to see it.
You do need to see it because it's tremendous. At some point, that might overtake everything because whenever we have a day off work together, we get high, we watch Beavis and Butthead and the movies.
The bit where they explain white privilege to them at that college class, and then the cops can get them, and it's like, hey, don't you know we have white privilege?
It's so good.
Yeah. If I can make a request, the next time you guys plan this, if it's a planned thing, I will take off work and come join you for all of the festivities.
Yeah, cool. Absolutely. Come get high and watch Beavis and Butthead.
Oh my God, I genuinely can't think of a better thing. That sounds like just a magical afternoon. This will be a good one. I think I have thoughts. I would like me and Sean to answer this before you do, because I think it has happened on this show. What is the worst film you've ever seen? I'm going to say it's Dogtooth.
Bicentennial Man.
The worst movie I've ever seen. Dogtooth was pretty bad. Bicentennial Man was like bad, but that's just I feel like that was just like bad. Dogtooth like was bad. It made me feel bad about being like a person because the people in that movie made me feel bad about how people like nobody should be around doing that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Dogs, I know as a matter of fact, Dogtooth is not the worst movie you've ever seen because you and I watched the Point Break remake.
Oh, I'm well aware of the worst movie I've ever seen. That's not what I'm. That was the question.
I thought you were answering
for Alec. No.
Okay. Oh, yeah. My bad.
That was my prediction. No.
I thought.
The worst movie I've ever seen is the Point Break.
No, it's Dogtooth. I always think of picking that movie, and like every time I think of a movie that's even in the neighborhood of Dogtooth, I'm like, oh, Alec's gonna hate this.
Yeah, we betrayed our friendship.
Although there was one that I picked not that long ago that I thought was in like a similar vein that I thought Alec you were gonna hate, but you ended up like either like finding it like middling or like not bad. And I can't remember what it was, but it was something.
Oh, I know what you're talking. I can't remember what it was either, but I remember you like Alec gave it a 5. That's like a 10 as far as I'm concerned. I can't remember what it was.
Because I remember having the discussion about like this is going to be Alec's going to drag this thing through the mud. And he came in like right in the middle. We're like, okay.
Was it Only God Forgives?
It might have been.
That was one of them. Yeah. God, that was like a year and a half ago now.
Yeah.
God damn.
Man.
All right, last one.
I'll say Dogtooth. I'm sure if I really went through and looked at like movie lists, like there's some like stupid horror movies that I could probably throw up there, but they're barely real movies.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say Dogtooth. That movie, I did not care for it.
Did not do it. All right, last question, but we might just throw in an extra just because I'm curious. What's the film that made you laugh out loud the most?
Man, that's tough.
I have a guess.
That's tougher than scared. That's tougher than cried.
My guess for you. I have 2 guesses for you. I can say before we go into. There's 2 times when I've been with you. Well, there's 2 times I've been with Alec in a theater where I think both of us couldn't breathe from we were laughing so much. I don't know if this is the most you've ever laughed, but it's probably the most I've laughed with you in the theater. And that was like, and I feel it was like within 2 months of each other. And it was Super Troopers and Kung Pao Enter the Fist.
Yeah, those were two of the ones I was going to mention. Those are 2, like, especially Super Troopers. Like, I don't know that the first time I saw that, I don't know that I've ever laughed so hard at anything in my life. And the people in the theater were looking at me and Gogs like we were insane, including our friends we went with. Like, we were crazy people because we were laughing so hard.
I feel like I almost passed out. It was so funny.
But then, yeah, Kung Pao didn't come out that much later, and like I felt the same thing. Like that movie. Oh, there you go. That's the movie I'll say that doesn't hold up because I tried watching that a couple of months ago and it was not good.
Oh, that's too bad.
But man, the first time watching those, and also Pop Star, the first time I saw Pop Star in the theater, like, it's like almost on the ground laughing.
It's a funny movie.
It is a funny movie. It's got to be one of those. Like, unless there's something else that like sneaks in that I'm not thinking of, it's got to be one of those three. I'm gonna say Super Troopers because that was the first. I saw that before Kung Pao because I remember they both came out like a month apart or something like that.
They were close.
And we saw Super Troopers. We drove. It was in College Park because we were down there either to visit you for that. You might have got like promotional streaming passes or something for it.
Yeah,
we went down to that weird little theater in Greenbelt that was right like a block from your apartment.
It was like behind the Beltway Plaza Mall. Yeah. Oh, and then this isn't one of his questions, but I'm curious, and I'd like to answer. What is your favorite movie of all time? I know you said objectively the best movie. We did that earlier, but what would you say, or your top three? Because I know it's probably hard.
It is hard. It's hard to pick a favorite because there's so many good ones.
Well, I got a question that about you, but it's for me and Gog, so maybe you can think about your answer while we ask this. How's that? Okay. Gogs, I already know my answer, but what's a movie you put on, either on the show or otherwise, that you thought Alec would love, but he actually did not care for, or you were disappointed at his reaction?
Well, no one liked Q the Winged Serpent, but we can't say that. I can't remember. Did you pick Bronson or did I pick Bronson?
One of you guys did.
All right, I'm going to say I did for the purposes of this question.
Okay.
Because I was surprised at how much Alec did not like that movie.
Yeah.
What's your answer?
Mine is Kevin Costner's Draft Day, which is the movie I think we all liked more than he did, and I was like, oh, this is going to be like a no-brainer.
Oh, slam dunk for Alec.
Yeah, and like if I recall, Alec, you didn't like it up until the actual draft scene. Like you didn't give a shit about the movie up to that point.
When it was the last 15 minutes and it was actually in the draft room and he was like wheeling and dealing, I got into that. But up until that, I was just like, ugh.
I was like, Alec loves Kevin Costner. Chadwick Boseman just passed away. He loves him. Like, it's a fucking sports movie. It's like a nerdy sports movie, too.
Yeah, it's very inside.
It's in the Moneyball vein.
Right. And I was just like, oh.
So, I'm going to have to say, for my favorites, Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, like that movie kind of changed the way I watch movies.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't expect anything from it. I didn't want to go see it. I'm pretty sure you wanted to go see it. And I just tagged along because it's a movie and I was like, whatever. And I remember coming out of that blown away. And you were like, yeah, the next one comes out next year. And I was like, next one? Yeah. Like, what? And that was awesome. Man, there's so many I could just throw up there because I
just rattle
really
off.
enjoy them.
Just rattle some off. Who cares?
Star Trek, the first Kelvin one with Chris Pine.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that movie's absolutely tremendous.
Mm-hmm.
And some I don't know, everybody could say oh, Jaws, The Godfather, obviously those are great. The Accountant, I think The Accountant's a perfect movie.
It's very good.
Rogue One is outstanding.
Banger.
The Guardians of the Galaxy movies, those are some of my favorite movies ever. It's so hard to pick one. Thor Ragnarok. That movie encapsulates everything I love about movies. It's funny. It's weird sense of humor. got a lot of action. It's got a heart. What We Do in the Shadows. That's like
great.
I do love that movie.
Yeah, the new season of the show just started airing. And I'm like, God, this stuff is just so perfect. It's so funny.
Dovetailing into that, do you think Taika Waititi is your favorite director?
I would say, yeah. I like everything he's done. There's one movie I haven't seen of his called Boy that I think is on my Hulu to watch, but I just haven't gotten around to watching it. Mm-hmm. For a while, I probably would have said Matthew Vaughn, but I don't know that he's done anything lately.
Mm-hmm. Or Matthew just a bunch of Kingsman sequels.
Yeah, he's the Kingsman in the First Class.
Yeah. Matthew Vaughn and Layer Cake.
Yeah,
Stardust.
Layer Cake. Stardust.
That's another movie I know you love. Yeah.
That's one of my favorite movies of all time. Like,
you've been going on about Stardust, I think, since I've known you. I think you're the one that actually convinced me to watch it.
Yeah, same. Alex, the reason I watched Stardust.
It's so good. And like, I would have said probably Matthew Vaughn for a long time, but I don't know. I didn't see the newest, The King's Man, and I thought the second Kingsman was just okay.
The King's Man is not good. I'll be honest with you. It's not what the first two were.
We watched Hunt for the Wilder People on the show, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that movie is outstanding.
Oh, it's really good.
Yeah. And we watched Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sad banger.
Oh my God, sad banger. Jesus Christ. Oh. Well, yeah. Well, with that, we've all learned a little bit more about the heart and soul of the show, Mr. Mm-hmm. Alec. And like I was saying, I didn't watch anything this week, but I know Alec watched 4 things, so we can just keep the party going if you want to just rip through what you watched. Sean, did you watch anything?
I watched one thing.
Okay. Alec, you want to take a breath and let Sean talk about the one thing he watched, then we'll go back to you, and then
Sean,
we'll talk about...
Sean, go ahead, then we'll...
Okay.
Then we'll
I watched Stranger Things Season 3, and man, is it bad. Alec, did you watch the show or no?
I did not watch the most recent season. I don't know if 3 is the last one I watched or not. Is that the one with the Russians?
Yes.
With the
Russians?
With the nerdy one who gets shot like at the carnival?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's the last season that's the last season that I watched.
Yeah.
And I did not think it was as good as the first 2.
No, it's just like the whole, it's a kind of like nostalgic 80s horror thing. So it's like kind of silly to begin with, but it just goes like, this happens sometimes in shows, but never so dramatic as I've seen in this, where it seems like all the characters had like massive personality changes. Like they all got lobotomized between seasons. Like, I can't ever think of his name, Hellboy, the Red Guardian. What the fuck is his? David Harbour. In the first 2 seasons, he's like this very capable. I mean, he's got some baggage, but like he's not like a goofball. But in the 3rd season, like he's just become this like slapstick idiot. And Winona Ryder has like just become another like incredibly shrill goofball. And there's a plot where the Russians have a secret base under the mall, but it's infiltrated by children, and like it's just really, really bad. And I don't know if there was some kind of writers issue, because did they have the last writer's strike was way before that. I don't know. It's just like, I don't know if they just ran out of gas after because the first 2 seasons are like not dissimilar. And I
only ever watched the first season.
Yeah, I mean, you're not missing much. And it has that problem with shows that have continuity with children actors in them where they grow up way too fast.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I don't know how long it took between all the seasons, but they all look like they're dressed like Stewart from Mad TV, like a grown adult in like little kids' clothes. And it's just like, well, we already picked the wardrobe. We ain't changing it. So they all look like child predators and children at the same time.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Yeah, like it's just not good. And like they still don't know what to do with the kids. And like, you know, it feels like, Battlestar Galactica wasn't as bad for this, but it feels like they had like a definite ending in mind, and like, this is making too much money, you got to keep making them. It's like, well, we don't have any ideas, and it's like, well, you just throw something together. Nobody gives a shit. Although Maya Hawke looks like, and I know that her parents are obviously Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke, but I've never seen a child look so much like an exact combination of their 2 parents before in my life. Like, It's like she looks like literally like you just took all the best parts of both of them and put them in one person. Like
it's like you put like AI put her together basically.
Yeah, like it's not. Yeah, like where the thing like, oh, what will our kids look like? That's what it looks like. It's uncanny, but yeah, I'm gonna watch the rest of it just because I watched the first 3 seasons, but Outlook not so good.
Well, I mean, speaking of, was it the last writer strike? We're in the midst of a writer strike. It's a bit of a timestamp here. Isn't that the last writer strike? Is that what truncated and like basically put a pin in Heroes, right? Like it made like the 6-episode Heroes season that was just trash.
Yeah, and that was when they made that Transformers movie without a script.
Oh, that's the second one?
Yeah, that's the one God's like when at Cross Street or we're at Nick's or something. However many years ago that was. And he was explaining the plot to me and TJ, and I was like fucking crying. And he's like, in all seriousness, explaining the plot. And I think I went and saw it later that night, and I fell asleep somehow, even though it's like the loudest fucking movie I've ever been to in my life. Also, I was kind of talking to TJ Analog that like, if this writers and actors strike, like if it puts the pin in like the MCU and Star Wars and DC and all that shit for a while, and maybe they recalibrate, like I'm kind of okay with that. Like I saw the pictures from Deadpool 3 and it's like, I'm not even remotely interested. So like, I don't, maybe that's just me, but maybe like they need to, like, I'm sure I think I told TJ, like, I'm sure the Ballad of Sebulba or whatever the next show was going to be great, but like, I need a break. And apparently they Batgirled Echo. They like shot a whole Echo TV show and they're just going to shit can it probably for tax reasons.
Ugh.
They said Disney Plus is losing $1 billion a year. And that's why they had to blow out everybody to ESPN.
Wow.
That's why we don't have Jalen Rose no more because of fucking Secret Avengers. So thanks.
Jalen Rose in one of my favorite Sports Center commercials of all time.
Yeah, Jalen Rose is a gem.
81. Yeah. So Alec, what did you watch?
So I watched 4 movies.
4 movies.
3 of which are a trilogy. One of which is a standalone. We'll talk about the standalone first. I need to get to my phone real quick to get the title right because it's a very long title. We found it on Paramount Plus.
Okay.
Which is like low key, maybe the best streaming service out there.
I feel like it's a streaming service, which I love.
It is a good streaming service as well. So the movie's called 15 Things You Didn't Know About Bigfoot, number 1 will blow your mind, or parentheses, number 1 will blow your mind.
That's a love the title. Yeah.
It's this like funny, it's not found footage really. But it's like a mockumentary about this guy works for a company called Compound, which is obviously Vice, like Vice News, and he gets sent all over the place. And like the font for the Compound is the same as the Vice font. It's Vice. It's Vice. He gets sent, ends up getting like these worse and worse gigs. Like he gets sent to test to like go to this brewery and like check out this brewery with these old like brewing techniques and see how good it is. But it's like in the middle of like the Ukraine, like during the war, and stuff like that. He gets sent. Him and his video partner get sent to Appalachia because there are Bigfoot sightings, and they go to hunt for Bigfoot with the most famous cryptozoologist in the land, who filmed a famous Bigfoot video so many years ago. That's really all there is to it. Like, it's all shot on like phones and cameras. It's them like hunting around for Bigfoot. It's so fucking funny.
Is there anyone in it that we would know?
Nope.
Nice.
The closest thing to a cameo is there's a photoshopped picture of Justin Trudeau in it.
In blackface?
No, he's his normal self. While they're going to the plane to fly to, I think it's Georgia.
The state or the country?
The state. The Hunt for Bigfoot. They run into a rapper and his entourage who is filming another show for them, which is, I guess, supposed to be like that, was it Action Bronson had that show, like, Fuck That's Delicious?
Yeah.
But it's supposed to be like that, like this fat rapper, and he's just, like, eating food everywhere and, like, spilling all over the place. But then it turns out he got a very important political show for Vice, too, so he's interviewing the Prime Minister of Canada. The movie's really funny, and it's only 84 minutes long.
I was about to ask, how long is it?
I'm not doing it justice. It's fucking hilarious. We both thought it was really good. And you can't beat the time.
No.
Can't beat that with a stick. The other movies that I watched all 3 Indiana Jones movies.
Hell yeah.
All 3 of the 5.
All 3 that matter.
You heard me. I had not seen Raiders of the Lost Ark, like all of it, at least in one sitting, ever. And there were definitely parts I didn't see, period.
That's wild to me.
But that movie slaps. All 3 of those movies slap. I remember I watched The Last Crusade a bunch as a kid. I thought that movie was the best. And I still enjoyed it a lot.
This might be an unpopular take, but I kind of think Last Crusade is my favorite one.
Last Crusade is objectively the best movie, but I'm gonna be Temple of Doom till I die.
You and Anthony.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last Crusade's also the goofiest one. But I love it. I think that him and Sean Connery's chemistry is absolutely incredible.
It's very good.
They work really well together. But all 3 of those movies are like, they show why Harrison Ford was a star and Steven Spielberg was the biggest filmmaker on earth. And yeah, the 2 of them together just make magic. Like Harrison Ford, when he gives a shit and is trying, is absolutely phenomenal. And he still is when he gives a shit and is trying, because he's really good in that show Shrinking that's on Apple TV. He's really funny.
He's great in Blade Runner, the new one.
Oh, that was only a few years ago, right? Yeah. And he's like in his 80s now, still making Indiana Jones movies.
Mm-hmm.
I saw some meme. It's like the idea of a professor, an 80-year-old professor that won't retire, is actually the most realistic thing about these films.
Junior,
Indiana was dog. Indiana.
You were named for the dog.
Yeah.
Love that dog.
He was a good dog.
That's the best cold opening in the 3 of them. Like, I mean, I love the cold opening in Temple of Doom, but
when it goes from that take on the punch and then it goes right to Indy getting.
Bro, you lost today, kid. Doesn't mean you have to like it. That shit lives rent free in my head.
And just River Phoenix.
Yeah,
was so good in that like 2 minutes as Indiana Jones.
Yeah, 1000%.
The scene that I will laugh out loud every time I see it, even though I see it coming to the day I die, is where Indy's talking to whatever Nazi he's dealing with. He's like, Marcus Brody knows every local custom. He knows everyone. He will blend in. You'll never find him. He's got a 2-day head start. If anything, he's already got it. And then it just cuts to him going, "Hello, does anyone speak English?" His arms around.
You know what's funny about that cold open, though? I just thought of this. It's like normally, like, I think we all hate it in movies where it's like, oh, that's how Wolverine got his jacket. But for some reason, him getting his hat like that works, and I can't explain to you why one works and one doesn't. Maybe just because the movie's better.
Not only he gets his hat, he gets the bullwhip, and you learn how he gets the scar on his chin, which was just Harrison Ford's scar from, I think, a motorcycle accident or some such. But they worked it into canon.
And his fear of snake.
And his fear of snakes. It tells the whole story.
Before that, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, shit.
He's like, whatever, like a minute before that.
Yeah, he once he got onto the carnival train and he landed in the snake pit, that's when things took a turn.
Like, I forget, you know, because I've also watched most of those movies recently, how violent the first 2 fucking movies are. Oh, like, the third one's still violent. The first one's, like, incredibly violent.
The first one's very violent, and Temple of Doom's like kind of a gross out movie. Like there's some stuff that happens in Temple of Doom. Yeah, chilled monkey's brains.
This is
big surprise. Also,
no time for love, Dr. Jones.
Also, I love the fact that Temple of Doom is a prequel.
Oh yeah. You know what? For years, I thought the line Short Round had is, you call him Dr. Jones, duh? It's Doll, right? Yeah, I thought it was duh for the longest time.
No, he calls Winnie or Willie, whatever, Doll.
Willie, yeah, Doll.
And then, fun cameo, the guy who gets him on the plane is Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah. Karen Allen, super hot in that first movie. No ticket.
Yeah, God. Well, we can talk about we need an Indiana Jones month and just do 3 movies that matter and then none of the other ones. So with that, I guess let's talk about Oblivion.
Let's talk about a movie like nobody talks about. Did this come out the same year as Live, Die, Repeat? Like, or were they very close?
I think a year or two earlier.
Okay.
If I'm remembering correctly.
Another movie that, like, love him or hate him, Tom Cruise is a pretty good actor.
Tom Cruise on the set of War of the Worlds, like, I'm taking this hat.
This is going to be a callback.
What happens in Oblivion, guys?
So in Oblivion, we're introduced to his name. Oh, okay, his name escapes me. I know I put it in the group text, but it's left now. We're just gonna call him Agent 49 because that's what he is.
His name's Jack.
It's Jack
something. Jack
Harper.
Reacher. It's nice. A Jack Reacher sequel.
Nice.
Ooh.
So you find out there's a voiceover talks about how the world was destroyed, and I mean I'm just gonna put it on Front Street. Shout out to set design and art on this movie, because it made like a subtle post-apocalypse, but then like you see, so story goes, these people came from beyond the stars, they destroyed our moon intentionally, and then that threw our world into chaos. So floods, earthquakes, like the whole place goes tits up, and as a result, like the earth, like the landscape of Earth is just so dramatically different. But it's like,
it's a great looking movie.
It
like
is.
Overall.
And there's little hints of like what Earth was, and like I think some of the wildest shit, especially with the art and the set design, was like when these crevices in the Earth would open up, and then the side walls of the cliffs are skyscrapers, and you're like, oh, the world flooded over and just silt overtook the land, which is horrifying conceptually.
TJ mentioned this. I don't know if he said it to you guys, but he said the aesthetic reminded him a lot of Mass Effect, and I'm like, yeah, I could definitely see that.
It reminded me of Mass Effect, and it reminded me of that game that came out where you're an Amazon delivery guy.
Death Stranding.
Death Stranding. So, Mandy from Mandy and Tom Cruise work in one sector to protect. So the aliens showed up. They fucked everything up. They fucked up the moon. The humans had to nuke the planet to save the planet, but they lost it. But now all of humanity has moved to the moon of Titan, and these two have been memory wiped to kind of keep them on the straight and narrow. But they're going to eventually get put. There's a giant spaceship that protects the Earth, and it's loaded for bear with drones, and it's here to. We're just cleaning up. We're harvesting all of the world's water to make hydrogen fuel cells so that we can get the last of humanity to Titan. But there's still remnants of the evil of the alien forces on Earth, so we got to defend against that. So there's this group, these two people, Mandy and Tom Cruise, and their job is to protect these giant water absorbing, like sucking machines, and just maintain drones. And they report back to home base every day, and steady as she goes. Well, one day, Tom Cruise is out there doing his thing, and he ends up with some interaction with some scavengers, and they are the scavenger aliens. He's like, oh, they weren't trying to kill me. He's out repairing drones. They were trying to capture me. Now he's a little curious about that. Then they intercept a signal, and the signal's like, this is a signal off Earth going to space. What the hell could that possibly mean? why would these aliens, who are these aliens trying to radio? Like, what's the story here? And then it causes a spaceship to crash to Earth. And upon reaching the spaceship, he finds, I always get her name wrong, Olga something or other, the young lady from, what's the Bond movie?
From Casino Royale and Hitman.
She's in Centurion, I believe.
The show with the guys with the backpacks?
No, that show rules. No, the one with the Fassbender one about the bloody one about the Romans that are like she's like the picked warrior. That movie rules. So he's like, oh shit, I dream about you all the time. What the hell, damn guy? Meanwhile, he finds all these other humans, and while he's there, one of the drones shows up and starts killing all these humans. Like, hey, this don't make a lick of sense. I better go tell Mandy about this. Also, I've made a beach house on a lake on this uninhabitable planet, and it's where I hang out and listen to records that I collect.
Yeah, real quick, please to explain how that lake is there.
I guess they haven't sucked it yet.
And maybe this, I don't know how you guys felt about it. This movie felt like up until, the last 20 minutes, it felt like a video game where I skipped all the cutscenes. It's I know they're trying to maintain the mystery, but it feels like it's missing a lot.
Well, it's also,
or maybe that's just me.
Some of it, in some cases, I don't know if it follows its own rules very well. We'll get into it. These drones are perfectly and unbelievably lethal. There's no, I'm at a loss for the rationale for what. Well, we'll get into it. So.
I was is this based on some French comic book I'm unfamiliar with? Because it feels like there's a lot of lore I'm missing. Yeah. So I looked it up, and it's based on an unproduced graphic novel written by the director of the movie. So he's like, I know what's going on in here, but I don't need to tell you.
It's like what's Pimps Don't Commit Suicide?
Southland Tales.
Oh, Southland Tales. Anyway.
Yeah.
So he's like, what the hell's going on? Why the hell would they bother? Why are the drones that are here to protect us, humanity, killing humans? This don't make a lick of sense. What the hell, damn guy? Also, I dream about this woman all the time. And then they get captured by the scavengers. And the scavengers are actually human freedom fighters who kind of pull the wool, I guess, off of his eyes and say, oh, by the by, we've been fighting this war for 50 years. Oh, I gotta add, one of the water sucker devices gets exploded by these aliens, and that just makes home base a little more upset.
Oh yeah, and shout out Google Dundleflex.
Oh yeah, Google Dundleflex in this bitch. So this guy's like, listen, everything you've been told is a lie. The big your home base thing is the reason that the Earth's like this. It destroyed the moon. We've been fighting it for 50 years. For 50 years, this thing has been sucking the water off of the planet, which has got to be bad, right, for business. We need your help to defeat it. He's like, you're out of your fucking mind. Get me the fuck out of here. And he's like, all right, peace. Go take your collapsible bike from your impossible bulbous rotor machine and go to the wasteland zone and see what you can find. And that's when Tom Cruise finds Tom Cruise and Agent 52. And it's never really explained how many of Tom Cruises are around, but you learn that Tom Cruise is a clone. And then you learn that he was Olga, whatever her name is, his husband, and they were supposed to go to Titan to investigate the big sky dreidel. And when it figured it out, for some reason, it sucked in Mandy and Tom Cruise, but it let everyone else go from its tractor beam, which is sort of a weird scenario, but
it didn't let them go. They discharged it.
Yeah, he did the old Next Generation saucer separation.
Yeah, but wouldn't it still suck it in, though?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. They might have just thought it was junk, so it didn't. Yeah. I don't know.
There's no life signs.
Yeah. So, right.
Was I the only one when he was putting around on that electric dirt bike that thought he probably made them make that and he definitely wrote it himself?
No. His hairstyle changed when he put on his Desert Raider goggles and decided to go for a little cruise. He was without a doubt, hands down, drove that bike around. He did if they made one of those flying gyrocopter thopter things, he probably flew that too.
I mean, that thing looks awesome.
Oh, all the prop design's really good in this movie.
Well, prop designs are solid, and then when he realizes what's going on. He tries to tell Mandy. Mandy's like, "No, you're lying to me. I want to go to Jupiter or whatever." She rats him out. She tattletales to home base. Home base is like, "Gotcha, bitch," and blows him up.
Are you an effective team? He's like, "Nope," and they're like, "Burn."
Yeah, like you burnt. And
yeah,
the scene where that drone is pushing through the flaming curtains after it did her in is a dope scene.
Yeah.
So now it's like, okay, look, here's the deal. You know the truth now. You know what the deal is. We need your help because you have the know-how to help get a nuclear bomb into home base because they want to meet this other survivor lady, and let's get it on. And
yeah, I know we already did nukes once. It didn't go well.
Well, no, they never. I don't think they did. I think that's the thing.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like a Matrix, we scorched the sky situation.
No,
they tried to nuke the ship once before.
Oh, maybe. Well, I think maybe they tried that, but I don't think they actually nuked the Earth. I think that's an unreliable narrator. That's also how they explained what happened.
Gogs is the closest thing to any of us as being a scientist. What are the ramifications of setting off a gigantic nuke in low orbit like that?
It's probably not great.
Okay.
There's probably I'm just going to say there's probably a good chance of some fallout happening, but then again, there's a very good chance that all of it burns up on reentry.
I really liked when he's at the remnants of the stadium and he's like describing that what sounds like the David Tyree catch in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But like it reminds me, did you guys ever get like those old Super Bowl books where it would have like every Super Bowl score and then have like a brief kind of synopsis of the game like when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Okay. Like the one I had Joe Montana on the cover. I think it was one of those like Scholastic Book Fair books. And like I used to fucking like obsessively read those things. So I just thought it was a cool little piece in that.
Well, so here's a question I actually had about the whole football scene, right? Because he tells about this story about like this great game that happened here in Legend, right? But eventually we're treated to a flashback about how so it's revealed that he and Mandy were absorbed into the ship and then they made thousands and thousands of clones of him and her. And they're the ones that actually beat the humans and took over. They took one of our greatest astronauts, one of our greatest heroes, and turned him against us, right? And then it's been Morgan Freeman's hope that one day you would come back and have a change of heart and your genetic memory would be whatever. So now, but in that flashback, they're talking about a football game, and he's like, "Don't spoil it for me." Are they talking about the same game? That was my question, and probably doesn't matter, but I am curious.
No, my assumption is that the pet AI or whatever that thing is like giving them feeds of old things. Like I don't think it's explained, but like to like not arouse suspicion because like he says that she's been frozen for 50 years, but like I don't know like how reliable any of these time frames are, so who knows.
Well, no, I think that's accurate because
Morgan
Freeman said he just joined the army when it happened.
Right.
As a young man. He's been fighting him his whole life basically. So for 50 years this has been going on, but Tom Cruise's clone Tom Cruise has memory wiped 5 years ago or 2 weeks ago. Who knows? He might perpetually. I forget who said it's Moon for dum-dums.
Yeah,
it's like.
Are they wiping his memory, or they're just killing the clone?
They're just killing the clone off. I think every clone is living on 2 weeks till we get to go home.
Yeah,
and then just send a fresh clone, right?
Yeah.
That would mean
the rules, by the way.
Say again, Alec?
Well, if they're only on clone 49, that would mean every 2 weeks. So that's only like 100 weeks. That's
I think whoever's assigned there is perpetually 49 because the other station that he went to is 52. They're just all the stations are cordoned off by each other by fake threats of radiation, so that they never go and find each other. I guess for fear that they'd realize what the fuck's going on, even though I guess they were mindless when Morgan Freeman says thousands of them marched out of the mothership. Like they didn't go, "Hey, John, what the hell are we all doing here?" So they're like, all right, well, we got to nuke the mothership. It's like, well, all right, we got to fly it ourselves. We can't do it on remote. It's like, I'll take it. And Olga, whatever's like, I'll go with you. And it's like, all right, cool, bet. And get back in your space coffin that I'm going to ratchet strap to the back of this gyrocopter. And we're going to go to the mothership. This is after what's the city in the Matrix? The last human.
Zion.
Yeah, after the attack on Zion happens.
Doesn't it seem a little weird that the ship doesn't have like remote view access?
So here's the other thing, right?
Can't see all this kind of happening.
Well, also like the dogfighting scene, which is dope.
Yep.
Right. Is at no point the gyrocopter just doesn't get taken over by the machines.
Right.
Right. So whatever, I'll just let it pass.
It's like that Futurama with the big brains. It's like, and now we're going to leave for no apparent reason. Like, it's just like...
So he flies to space in his atmospheric gyrocopter. So that thing must be, who knows what's going on there. Gets to space, flies into the MCP, the Master Control Program. Gets into the heart of it.
Did you make a deliberate Tron reference because the same guy made Tron Legacy?
No, but thank you. I didn't know that worked out. It just looks like a big angry dreidel.
It looks like the thing from No Man's Sky on the cover of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big angry diamond. So here's the other thing. You go into it and you see thousands more of these drones. Like, these drones could have just mopped up. I mean, could have just given them the business, right?
Well,
so,
once the thing's like, Jack, your readings indicate that you're lying to me. Like, why didn't it just go, you know what? I got a million other of these things. Let me just eat this one real quick.
Help me out,
I'm not
right?
gonna fuck around to see what happens. Like,
yeah, I've seen this movie before.
Because, like, if the thing had been presented as being, like, incredibly curious about humans and their behavior and what they do, maybe, but, like, you don't really know anything about it until the very end, so, like, it seems a little weird that they kind of just let a lot of shit slide.
Yeah. But anyway, they're just here to suck the planet, and who isn't?
Suck the planet!
So they go up there and they're like, show me the person you found. Unstrap your space coffin and let me see what's good. And they're like, all right. And he does. And you get that, I think they did it in Life. They've done it in lots of movies. Not the prison
Sheila
movie. Yeah. Right. That's, Olga is waking up at the lake house and wounded Morgan Freeman pops up because he wants to see the face on the angry dreidel when they get nuked.
Surprise, bitch.
So instead of just vacating all the oxygen from the room, or doing any number of things just to annihilate them right there, the Master Control
program, I'm gonna let this play out.
Yeah, he's going, let's see where this goes. The Master Control program decides to let them monologue for a second and then nuke the dick out of it.
Like, he's just dying to get this fucking catchphrase off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's real long, too. It's like something like, what better way for a man to die than in the face of overwhelm? It's like, a whole ass monologue.
Yeah, he's quoting, like Roman Greek mythology scripture.
At least, because was it Homer? Because didn't he mention Homer earlier?
Yeah.
Where he had the Odyssey. Yeah. It's still better than in The Counselor when the drug kingpin is quoting Machado to Michael Fassbender, who's like, I don't care at all.
Yeah.
What are you talking about, bro?
Shout out to Manny Machado, though.
The crazy space lady is Melissa Leo.
Yeah, the mother from The Fighter.
Fighter.
And the mother in Red State.
MTV
Girls.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, well, I don't blame you.
So they nuke it, and then and I guess. So here's the other thing I don't understand. I guess the clones were made to be able to reproduce. Because he must have put a hot one in Olga before he left.
Was she pregnant already?
Oh, they wouldn't send a pregnant broad to space, would they?
I mean, she didn't know maybe she got pregnant while she was up there. Because, I mean, they're going to fucking Titan, you know what I mean? It's not like it's a 10-minute
I thought they were all asleep in my head.
They must have done it in shifts, you know what I mean? Because doesn't Mandy wake up and come take the selfie with him? It's all awkward.
She's the co-pilot.
Oh, I see. I don't know. This is what I'm talking about, where like I feel like there's a lot of shit that just got missed somewhere, and I don't know if it got cut or we'll talk about it later. But go ahead.
In my head canon, they banged, and now it's 3 years later, and they have this like precocious but terrible child actress living at their wallless lake house. Like, oh look, mommy, there's people, and now Tom Cruise, 52, who escaped their earlier run-in, shows up, and he's there with Google Dundleflex and the rest of the Lost Boys, and I guess everything's hunky-dory now, and she's now in love with this clone? And that's Oblivion.
This has nothing to do with anything, and I'm not sure I get the symbolism in it, but I'm going to mention it just because I think this is where he gets it from. There's a painting in this by Andrew Wyeth called Christina's World. It's in like a few different pieces of media I really like. There's a plot point in the graphic novel Preacher about it. And it also is one of the paintings when Dave Bowman goes beyond the infinite to Jupiter in 2001, which I think is the reference, but like it's a painting about a woman that with like MS or something that can't walk. So I'm not really sure what the relevance is, but it's like very prominent in their lake house.
He also they see it in the human refugee, and he cuts it out of the frame and he puts it in her space coffin with her. And now
maybe she just liked it or something, but like I assume it's there because of 2001, but like it's just a reference for the sake of a reference. I don't know. Like I found it distracting, but like, you know, whatever. It's just a painting.
Yeah. You know, art for art's sake. Art's gratis artist.
Yeah.
But that's, you know, it's Oblivion's an interesting. What do you guys think, Alec?
I'm a pretty big fan of this movie.
Yeah.
I saw this movie in the theater. I don't know why, because it's not. That was back when like I was over Tom Cruise. Like, oh, he had made some good Mission Impossibles, but I feel like it had been a while since he made anything good outside of those. And this came out the year before Live, Die, Repeat. So this was like, I guess, kind of on his resurgence back to the top of like sci-fi stuff. I think this movie is tremendous. It's beautiful. It's like absolutely beautiful. Like the horrifying wreckage is gorgeous, like everywhere, and gross. Because it's all dusty and dirty. But seeing all like the busted up, so like the viewfinder at the top of the Empire State Building is like 8 feet off the ground now. It's not.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's not a million stories in the air. And like, I think the only thing that bothered me is in like the poster for the movie, it shows him like on the Golden Gate Bridge, but he's never on the Golden Gate Bridge. In the movie. But I thought the movie's gorgeous. I thought it was well acted by, not that there's a huge cast, but, pretty much everybody. I liked, his chemistry with, what's the woman's name? Not his wife, but his partner.
Mandy. Yeah. No,
his wife.
Redhead.
Mandy from Mandy.
Mandy.
Yeah, their chemistry I thought was really good. His chemistry with Olga Kurylenko was really good. Like him and Morgan Freeman worked really well together, which I guess I don't know why I would think otherwise. Like Tom Cruise gets a lot of shit about being a bad actor, I feel like, but it's more about how weird he is than his acting. Like his actual acting he's actually a really good actor.
He is. He's like super charismatic dude. Like he's very like.
But like I can easily see where people say, "Oh well, he sucks," because like his religion that he stands for sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, what has he ever sucked in besides maybe The Mummy? Which, I mean, that's not really anybody's fault besides whoever wrote and directed it.
Right.
Like, have you ever seen a movie that Tom Cruise is in where you're like, oh, he's not very good in this? Because I don't think I have.
He's never not bringing it. He is 100% all the time.
But yeah, like, everything about this, like, worked for me. All the, like, the sci-fi tech, like, I love all the, like, minimalist technology, everything. Their little houses that they lived in. I like that the two houses were, like, 49s and 52s houses were, like, slightly different. Like, they had a slightly different, like, taste. So they were decorated slightly differently.
Mm-hmm.
I like their weird pool that, like, hangs below the house in the middle of the sky. Where you're just swimming basically over a mountain.
It's like an infinity pool before infinity pools were a thing.
Yeah. I thought the drones looked cool. I thought they sounded cool. That sound, like that whirring, it's not even a whirring. I don't know what you would call it. Like the sound they made, I thought was, really neat.
Like they did a good job of making the bad sound really unsettling. Like it's hard to listen to, but the good sound was like, oh, okay, I feel better now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the bad sound, it's not like an alarm, but it's just like a grinding almost, where it's like,
yeah.
I like that little scene where the drone is like targeting his wife in the capsule, but he's like in the way, and it's just like flashing back and forth, like probably like 50 times in like half a second. Like I forget the two words that he uses, but like friendly or
it's like terminate,
like,
yeah, clear, terminate, clear,
back and forth, back and forth. And finally, he like fully gets in the way of her, so it's like, oh, clear. Spins around, flies away.
Dude, when those things would turn around and just rocket straight up, it was like they were like, it was dope. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought it was the way they had showed like the water. I don't know what you call them, salinations things.
Mm-hmm.
The water stealers, and like showing the noise they made. Like the sound design of this movie is fucking phenomenal. Like all over.
I do like how all the robots look like when Sony was leaning into like consumer robots like their dogs, and they're like they all have that like panda dunk color scheme, that like very spherical black and white. Like it's a cool looking aesthetic.
Yeah. And it's like what I would expect
a machine to make.
Something
right.
Yeah, very just functional. Like there's no need for random other colors. If the metal is white, it is white. Like and I think the thing that kind of got me and had me like guessing the whole time more than anything was the way they'd had the aliens or robot or whatever it was have the AI Melissa Leo controlling them and like telling them everything. So they'd be like, well, it's a person guiding us. How could anything we're doing be wrong?
The scene where she's starting to lose it and it's like breaking apart is very cool and horrifying.
Yes. But like I think I'm pretty sure I own this movie on Blu-ray. Like I love this movie. I think it's a really good movie. But it's something that like I don't think I've heard more than like two other people ever talk about, even knowing what it is. I definitely don't think it did very well in the theaters.
Was it a failure? I
think it was just a meh. Like, I think it just kind of came and went. I don't think there was any, like, strong feelings about it one way or another. I could be wrong.
How Will Smith's version of this, After Earth, was years later, right?
Yo, that movie sucks shit, though. Like, there's nothing good about that movie. Did you watch that with us, Cogs? That might have been just me, PJ, and Alec.
Yeah, that movie was fucking trash.
Oh my god, is that bad?
Well, should we get into five numbers? What else do you want to talk about with this thing? Other than the fact that it was a clean, like to your point with the designs of the ships and the designs of everything, it wasn't like the aliens or alien, like super utilitarian kind of spaceship design that doesn't really. It's like just all pipes and gross or whatever.
I mean, you never really know with what they are originally. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which is fine.
Right. I mean, it's just. I guess presumably it's a rogue AI, or not a rogue AI. It's just it's a sentient machine being.
I don't think I have. I can just say my piece during the rating part, unless Gogs wants you got something else for the.
Let's get into it. It's 5 Knuckle Shuffle time. Sean, you lead us off.
It's kind of fitting that the same guy made Tron Legacy, which is a movie I really want to like, but don't. This is a much better movie than Tron Legacy. Let me put that out on Front Street. But it's it's a movie that has some ideas that I don't think the guy's competent enough of a writer to kind of get to where he wants to go.
Mm-hmm.
Because. Well, we talked about Moon. Moon is very much a character study of the person, and I don't think this is Tom Cruise's fault. I don't think, even though he's the only person in the movie, I don't think he spent enough time exploring kind of how his thoughts and kind of what's going on. And
they try and paint the picture right with him going to the lake house and his curious mind.
It just feels like there's I don't know, maybe we don't spend enough time with the scabs, or there's something, because it's not a short movie. I mean, it's 2 hours. It's very watchable, but it's missing something, and I couldn't tell you what that something is. I don't know if I want it to be more of an exploration of the cloning thing. I don't know if I need more about the war and what the aliens want. It just seems like it's kind of in a hurry to get to the end and then just tell you everything that's going on. Mm-hmm. And then I'm just kind of okay. And then we brought it up a few times, that what was I going to say? That the capabilities of the mothership are confusing. Sure. What it is capable of and what it decides not to deal with. And I know it's not explained and it's not really the point, but it's you kind of start pulling on threads, because it's not there's a whole lot going on outside of whatever the main thing they're doing is at the time. TJ, I think, texted earlier in the week that he thinks there's a more interesting movie to be had about the wife now living with a clone.
Yeah.
And what that relationship is like. And they touch on it a little bit earlier. It's not they totally ignore it, where he's I'm not him, but I've loved you since whatever. And I think that's good. The movie looks great. It's just it's not quite, it doesn't quite get there for me, but I'm going to give it a 7.
Okay.
I don't think it's a bad movie at all. I think it's more disappointing than it is problematic. I think it could be really elevated, but I think the script needs another pass. But that's my thought. Gogs.
I'm also going to give it a 7. Visually, it's awesome. Tom Cruise is great in it. The story starts out really kind of mysterious and interesting, and then I feel when it wraps up, it's in a I think we said earlier, it's kind of in a rush to get there, and it gets too blockbustery for its own good, for the sake of the story.
It somehow takes too much time at the beginning, but also not enough.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, Gogs, that's a really good point. It's trying to squeeze in an action movie, and I know there's a lot of action in it, but it's plot-wise, it's not an action movie at all.
No, I don't want. Yeah, I don't want.
It's a character movie, but it's oh, we gotta, fast forward the blood sport part. You know what I'm saying? We gotta kind of
the action scenes are great, but they're kind of incongruous with the front of the movie, which is kind of quiet.
Yeah.
And I feel something could be done to make it a little more, to build up more tension with the woman from Mandy. I should learn her name.
Right.
And she's great in it, might I add. She might be better than Tom Cruise in this movie.
And it's also I kind of want to understand why the aliens need the humans to repair the shit.
Right. Because they seem more than capable.
Right. So I don't know. There's just bits missing that it's hard to really identify. Anyway, sorry.
But it's not a bad movie.
No.
And it is beautiful and it's well acted. And it's a cool it's a unique take on like this story and this idea. And the
like
twist
this is like it's the best movie of 1999. You know what I mean? Like I think it suffers from the era that it came out.
And the twist is a good twist. It's just if the twist does come early, right? But it's not a bad movie by any stretch of the imagination. No. And it's like I'm saying, Tom Cruise, very good in it. All the cast good in it, and the art design, and it just needed probably a pass by someone who could help tighten up the vision and make it a little more coherent. It very well also could have been noted to death by the producers to be like, we need more action. So
this is a Tom Cruise movie. Where's all the big blow 'em ups? Where's all our action and shit?
But a lot of fun, and like the canyon dogfighting scene, it's kind of out of nowhere, but it's awesome.
Well, I think the guy also made Top Gun Maverick, so that probably tracks too.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, it felt like that, and it's
what a weird directing career.
He just makes Tom Cruise movies.
He directed,
except for Tron.
He directed Gears of War, Mad World. I guess that's just a commercial. Tron Legacy, Oblivion, then some music videos and commercials.
Isn't there a dogfight at the end of Tron Legacy, Gogs? Doesn't Biodigital Jazz Jeff Bridges like have a fucking ship?
Yeah,
or something.
So he's like fighting across like whatever the digital. He's Wintermute in the plane like, on his deck.
This motherfucker directed the Taco Bell Web of Fries commercial.
That commercial rules.
No, hold on.
It's the best commercial I've ever seen.
I think I don't want to sleep on this. You said he did the Gears of War Mad World commercial.
Is that the one with the?
I challenge you to go back. Song? Yeah, but it's the version of it by. It's a different. It's I forget the gentleman.
It's the Tears for Fears song.
It's the Tears for Fears song.
But it's done by this places, worn out faces.
But it's even slower and more haunting. That commercial lives rent free in my head. It is arguably next to Dead Island, one of the greatest video game commercials you've ever seen.
Give me Tim Miller, the Deadpool director's Batman, whichever game that was commercial, where it's just the young Bruce Wayne getting punched and then it just keeps cutting to the faces. Maybe it uses the same song.
Yeah.
But like, you know the commercial I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's Arkham City?
I believe that's City.
Okay.
But anyway, that's me. Alec.
I'm going to give this an 8.
Nice.
Slightly higher. It's not a perfect movie, but it's still pretty damn good. It's got its flaws and it's got its little inaccuracies and kind of stupid little things you have to gloss over a little bit. But like, I enjoy this movie, and like, this is maybe one of my favorite Tom Cruise movies. Like, I think he's really good in it. It's fairly tight. Overall, like, it could have been a little shorter. It needed to be either a little shorter and cut some of the fat, or a little bit longer and expand on some of the either backstory or lore. Like, right where it is, it's a weird movie in the sense that the time length of the movie just isn't right either way. Like, most movies, I just want it to be shorter. This one, I either want it to be shorter and trim some shit out, or make it another 20 minutes longer and let me know more about the war and more about what happened and all that shit. Show me flashbacks, or show me what's happening when Morgan Freeman is talking about all the shit happening. Give me some visuals of that.
The 10,000 Jack Harpers coming out of the ship.
Yeah.
But overall, like, I think it's a fairly good movie. Like, it's a good sci-fi movie. Like I said, not perfect, but this is a movie that I watch every now and then, and I enjoy it. And I'm glad you guys did too. Had you seen it before, guys, or was this your first?
I think I've seen it before, but I want to say I did, but there's lots of stuff I didn't remember or recognize. So it might be one of those things where I just thought I saw it or I knew enough about it.
You would see that, hadn't you, Sean?
Yeah, I think this was a Redbox Blu-ray for me. Like, I think this was in that weird where everything wasn't streaming quite yet, or I wasn't set up for it, or it was in that era, because I remember renting this movie, so it must have been from a vending machine.
Yeah, this might actually have been a Food Lion buy. This might have been one of like the $5.
Food Lion's like the fucking
X Redbox Blu-rays that they then sell to Food Lion for like $2 and they sell it for $5.
Food Lion was like my Barnes and Noble's Criterion.
Like low-key Criterion collection.
I got Straw Dogs. I got fucking Live and Die in LA. Like, I got all kinds of crazy shit at Food Lion for like $4. Manhunter.
It's like when you meet somebody who doesn't know what they have and they're selling you, you're at a yard sale and they're selling you shit for $3.
Yeah, $5 for the whole box.
You know what you have here? Like, I don't care, just take it.
Just, my son is in Iraq and I hate him.
So, or do we have another movie next week, or are we on to?
We got another movie next week. And it's going to be a problem.
This is your pick, is it not?
Yeah, so it's either going to be Attack of the Clones. You guys can pick. Or TJ just uploaded The Flash to the torrent, which I believe has multiple versions of characters in it, which I think might be stretching it a little bit. So you can either watch something that we know is trash and have to watch it again, or watch something that we assume is trash and have to watch it for the first time. So I'm going to leave it. You guys vote.
I really.
I kind of feel like we have to watch The Flash because we've watched the rest of the DCEU.
I really don't want to watch Attack of the Clones. Like, I really do not desire to do that.
Yeah, the Flash is also 2.5 hours long, so.
Oh, how long is Attack of the Clones?
Like 2
also
hours
2.5
on the nose.
Everything's 2.5 hours. Oh, we get a bonus Monday this month, so we could do both. We could do Attack of the Clones next week and Flash the week after.
Oof.
I think the law says that's what we have to do.
Yep.
Because we have a spare week, and if there's ever a grab bag week, so do we grab bag it?
Yep.
Do we want to take our poison? Do we take our medicine now or later?
Well, I don't know, man. Like,
Attack of the Clones for next week.
Okay.
Because then we'll close out the month, and then we have the grab bag the last week of the month. We'll do it this way purely for procedural purposes.
Yeah.
You know the law.
Well, strap in. It's going to be a rough couple weeks.
Jesus Christ. Hold on.
Do I watch them both in one sitting and get it out of the way, or do I wait? Oh my God.
I'm gonna play a game called How High Do I Have to Get to Enjoy Attack of the Clones?
Here's the good thing. I don't think it's possible, but like the good news is, since we've all seen that movie so many times, we can be on our cell phones the entire movie.
Yeah.
Pretty much. You don't want to sell me Death Sticks. Jedi business.
So, oh my God. What's August?
Tell
me we got something to look forward to. Give me something to look.
Hang on.
Don't do it. Don't give me hope.
I think August is Murphy's Law. Eddie Murphy movies.
Oh.
So I'm picking them. I know what I'm picking for that already.
Who's picking Bowfinger?
Oh, fuck yeah. No, I'm picking My Name is Dolomite. That movie
fucking rules.
Rocks.
I mean, is Beverly Hills Cop's too good, right? Are we gonna invoke the too good?
Are we gonna just like be like, okay, no Beverly Hills Cop, no
48 hours,
no 48 hours, well maybe 48 hours, because at least
Nick Nolte says the N-word so much.
God damn it. No, fucking Golden Child. Well, no, maybe the Golden Child. No, shit. Why can't I think of fucking?
All
no
the Nutty
Coming to
Professor
America.
Are in play, right? No Coming to America.
No Harlem Nights. No Boomerang. No Life.
You really want us to watch Norbit, don't you?
The Holy Man and Dave and Pluto Nash. Like, I feel like the spirit of the show demands we pick like shitty Eddie Murphy movies.
How about Vampire in Brooklyn? Can I pick that?
I mean, you can. I think that is that a Wes Craven joint?
I believe so. I just don't know. I've never seen it, so I don't know if it's bad. I presume it's bad.
Why do I feel like we already did that movie and I don't like... Maybe because we did Dracula 2000.
Yeah.
We'll do Blackula 2000.
Yeah. Oh. All right. Well, so there we go. Attack of the Clones, and strap in for our loyal audience. You also get to watch The Flash now, I guess.
Have you ever heard the tale of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
Oh God, no.
I think it was a TikTok, and it was somebody like graffitiing a school, and then when you pull back, that's what he was writing.
Oh, I put that one up there that somebody at a Target took an end cap with those pillows that have like the scales on them that you can flip. Mm. And they did the whole end cap. It's like 10 pillows that spell out, have you ever heard the tale of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
God, we're going to go to Camino. We're going to...
That, you know what, that Jango Obi-Wan fight is not bad. Like, I'll at least put that there. Master Sifo-Dyas. Master Sifo-Dyas.
And we get to see General Grievous Vasquez.
Yeah.
One of my favorite terms of all time.
Former Memphis Grizzlies 6-man General Grievous Vasquez.
No wonder he's so good. He has 6 goddamn arms.
But that asthma kept him out of the league for permanent.
Mm. All right. Well, tune in or don't, I guess. Maybe we'll see you guys in August.
I'll let your fucking boss do whatever you want. I don't care.
Oh, yeah, right. You know the drill. Suck your own ass or whatever we tell you to do.
Yep.
Yeah, suck your own
100. Also, if you got to this point and you haven't heard TJ's thoughts, it means he got lazy and didn't stitch himself in.
He's going to give it a 7, I would bet. If I had to guess, he'd be somewhere in line with the rest of us.
Yeah. All right, 7 territory. TJ coming through stunning with a 10 no one saw.
0%.
0%.
All right. TJ, 10s and 2s. 10s and 2s, TJ.
Just like
with that. Good night, everybody.
All right, bye.